Hey guys, welcome to the Paid Search Podcast video channel where you get to see Jason and I in all of our glory as we talk about all things not AdWords for this episode. So Jason and I were talking, and sometimes it's kind of fun to chat about stuff that's not specifically related to strategy and AdWords. And
It's the after show.
yeah, it's the after show. It's casual hour. We got our T-shirts on instead of our business suits, which is what we usually wear as business suits. So, Jason,
Yes, sir.
I thought I would start off the conversation about not AdWords and talk a little bit about what it's like to work at home and kind of what I do and how things work where I am. So. I do work at home. This is a little tiny room in my house that I work in. It's not tiny. It's not that small, but little room I work in, and I do have a 4-year-old daughter and a wife who is not 4 years old. But I work in this little room, and I get phone calls from clients right here, and I take it over Skype. I answer my phone over Skype. So it gets kind of interesting sometimes when you have a 4-year-old and a client calls, and I'm in a meeting, with a CEO, some big show. I mean, I have to sound professional because I'm not dressed professionally. I'm not in an office. I don't have some big conference software, phone and stuff like that. So it's important that I at least sound professional. It's part of the reason why I have this, mic here, and the headphones and everything. So I can at least sound that way on the phone. Until my 4-year-old comes in and wants to show me what she colored. And she walks in, and I'll do it at the screen here. I like, and I point. And I show her that face, like, get back outside. And I have to do that completely silently, because people are going to hear it. Wow. Because they're talking to me or I'm talking, and I'm like, get back. And then, of course, that never goes over well because she loves her daddy and she wants to show me a picture, and she gets her feelings hurt because she can't show me, even though I've explained it a billion times,
right.
That I'm sorry, I'm working. I'll talk to you any other time, but not when I'm on the phone. So that happens, and it gets interesting sometimes, and I have to close my door rarely. We've kind of worked it out, she understands, and she, instead of listening, what she does is she'll walk up right here and shove the paper right in my face and, say like, here's what I do, and I'll go, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Go away. And then the clients are, hearing me basically kind of mumble something over and over as my brain's trying to multitask.
Right.
Suddenly I make less sense. My cognitive level goes down, 40%.
Right.
So that's kind of what happens. And it happens more often than I would like, but that's part of the sacrifice of working at home. I try and keep things casual around the family, but I have to be a little more strict whenever, there's like 4 people on the phone. And everybody's, sounds like, they're in the middle of an office and everybody's professional. And I hear, Daddy.
Yeah. My version is when the doorbell rings and my dog goes crazy. It's hard to keep that quiet. So I usually just tell people, dog's going crazy. Just wait a second. But this isn't so much a work from home thing. But one time, like I did not end up taking this client on because it was a little weird the way this played out. But this guy was we had a few conversations and talked by email, and I was going to do some work for him. And then before he was a client, like I would never, not never because I love money and we all have talked about my addiction, but usually I would not take a phone call from a client on a weekend night. But this guy wasn't even a paying client. And so we had talked like that Thursday, that Friday, and then Saturday night. Let's just be honest about it. It's a beautiful thing when a man and a woman are together. And so I was spending time with my girlfriend. And so I walk out of the room and I'm in my house. So I don't have any clothes on, and I check my phone. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I see I've got a missed call from this guy from like 10:45, And
Oh
I'm just
my
standing there naked
gosh.
looking at my phone like, what the heck? Like, what is the malfunction that some people have that think it's okay to call
11?
someone, let alone someone you're not even paying yet, at 10:45 at night on a Saturday for a non-emergency? Like, and so, Chris, you and I freelance, and so people know work is basically our life. But and so they feel comfortable to call us at different times sometimes. But come on, this is we got to
Yeah.
have boundaries. And
I had I
Saturday
had a
night,
guy
10:45. What the heck?
I had a guy basically tell me like, you must be super rich because you don't work on Saturday and Sunday. He basically was, when I told him, I was like, yeah, I'll address that on Monday. He's like, what? You don't, I
I
thought we
know
were,
plenty of poor people that don't work on Saturday and
yeah.
Sunday.
I mean, he
Yeah.
was so shocked that I didn't work on Saturday and Sunday, and that we couldn't have a meeting on Saturday, and Sunday, sure. I mean, most people take that day off, but Saturday is like, you should be working. You know what? You must be like filthy rich, and I'm just blown away that
You gotta
that people
make
put that.
boundaries.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that, Chris. I've gotten this question from multiple agencies that have hired me, and I don't work with either of them anymore. And one of them turned out to be a super sleaze bag, like big time. But when they were first interviewing me, I heard this. And do you work on weekends? And
Whoa.
at the time I did, because I was just building things up, and
Mm-mm.
so I said I do, but I'm trying to get away from it. And now I've
Yeah.
successfully gotten away from it. But he goes, I could just hear the twinkle in his voice, like, oh yes, I'm going to abuse this person and get way more value than I'm giving for money.
Yeah.
Because they just, like a lot of these agencies, they just want to use their freelancers, and so you gotta,
Yeah.
if you have the skills to be in demand, you gotta select who you want to work with, because there's some snakes out there.
I just gave my credit card, my business card to someone, and it wasn't a client. It was a home service company that I talking to, and I handed him the card, and he said, "Okay, so your email's on here. I'll just call the phone number on here, to discuss whatever." And I looked at him and smiled and said, "There's no phone number on that card. If you want my phone number, you got to be a paying client." No,
That's
you can't.
interesting.
You don't just call me. If you want to contact me, you have to earn that by being a client. I don't even have my phone number in my email signature. If you want to contact me, the first step is email. Then you get the privilege of calling once I get
Right.
that money. Right? I mean
Right.
that because time is just too essential for me to be able to have a phone call with just anyone for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Now
Everybody wants to talk about their business for 30 minutes, about,
yeah.
oh, we did, we
And,
started back in here. And I mean, it
yeah.
just doesn't work.
Another tip for like new freelancers out there is there's snakes out there and wolves that sound like sheep.
Yeah.
And if you get on the phone with some people, they'll sound like the nicest person you've ever met, and all they're trying to do is suck information, valuable information about your business, about whatever you freelance at, about your business model. And early on, I gave away way too much information just because I was naive and people sounded nice on the phone, so I was nice in conversation. And not only did I waste a ton of time with them, I gave up
Yeah.
valuable information just because the way they sounded, and that's something I was not exposed to when I was just an employee and
Yeah.
not a
And
business owner.
they'll promise the world, and in the end, they just take your pricing model and your business write up and use that and basically just copy what you do, and,
Yeah.
and then hire someone else from India that's cheaper. I mean, it happens all the time. Yeah, it's shady stuff, and it happens once it happens to you, it doesn't happen twice. That's for sure. You can usually kind of hear it. You can kind of tell.
Right.
But I'll tell you, as home workers, work at home guys, it's one thing that I really like is that I don't have to. If I work an 8-hour day, I essentially worked like a 12-hour day for an agency person, right? Or a person working in-house, because they have meetings, they have people that come to their desk, they have people that do all this stuff that eats up their time.
They have
eats up
water cooler talk. They
water
have
cooler breaks that end up
deciding
lasting
where to go
30
to
minutes.
lunch for 15 minutes.
Yeah, mandatory. All the boys are going out to Chili's for lunch, and that eats up an hour and a half. And now you're behind, and you have to work, till 7 to make up for that extra hour and a half. So, what I like is efficiency, and I know there's probably a lot of ways that you do things, and I'll kind of briefly go through kind of some of the ways that I like to handle my normal work day.
Yeah, I'd love to hear this. Let's go through what our days look like.
So one thing that I've learned pretty quickly is, this is a balancing act. This is going to sound like it's opposite, but basically, I handle email in a way that is both quick and efficient, but sometimes very slow. It depends on what kind of email comes in. If there's a new client, someone that's just starting off, I will stop what I'm doing and immediately answer emails. Because it's important to respond quickly to clients that feel a little more need towards, emergency type of stuff. You respond quickly to those emails that are new, that don't understand certain things. They have a lot of questions. They're concerned. Why isn't their phone ringing? Stuff like that. Right. Then the other side of email is sometimes you have to let stuff sit in your inbox, for 24 hours. Right. And that gives a little bit of insight into what my inbox looks like. Right now, I have about 6 emails in my inbox. When I walk away from this computer this afternoon, there will be either one email that I plan to take care of the next morning, or no emails at all. I'm inbox 0, right? So that keeps a lot of stress off of me because I treat my inbox as a checklist. Right. This is done. This is done. I archive everything as soon as it's done. Okay. Other areas that I found out that make my life a whole lot easier. I send a lot of files, and I use a program called Droplr. It's DROPLR, and specifically on Mac. I have a Macintosh, and this helps me send files really quickly. And I found that this kind of stuff is super helpful. I can take screenshots and mark them up quickly with arrows and pointing to things. Right. I can do screenshots. I can do a screen, like a screen recording. I can't think of the right term, but I can basically do an audio voiceover as I move my mouse around and point at different things in a client's account, right? A video cast, something like that, and then send it to them immediately. That saves me 20 minutes of typing out this long, complex email that somebody may never read because it's just too long. Right. Too long, didn't read. Right. So efficiency in sending communications through pictures, screenshots, video, stuff like that has been tremendous for me. And then finally, checklists. Repeating checklists specifically is a big deal for me. I have clients that I have to manage. And what I do is certain clients need management a couple times a week. Certain clients need management once a week. And this system that I use is called Things, is the app. I really like the Things app. And it schedules certain to-do things that repeat over the weeks or months or whatever. So every time I open up my computer, here's the ones I have to check today. And here's the items that are unique to specifically getting done today. And those have to-do lists, expiration dates on them and stuff like that. So a combination of being efficient with my communication, keeping email to a minimum when it's not necessary, and making sure that everything's done. When I walk away, I know I've taken care of my email. I know I've checked the accounts I need to, and I know if anything's due, it's going to be in that app, and I know I'm going to check it off before I walk away. So that's kind of how it keeps me sane, because when you're the only person working, and it can be incredibly stressful because you want a break. You're not going to get a break until you're finished.
You basically have to, like, I always think about this, like, no one teaches you how to work. It's something you have to figure out, and you actually have to apply yourself. So for me, one big thing I've noticed is that when you work from home, well, the first thing is I set hours. Like I literally I'm a workaholic, and it's seriously an addiction, because if I'm sitting around at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I know I've got stuff to do, say I go start doing it because I've got some energy, but then I don't get to bed till midnight or 1 a.m., and then the next morning I'm tired, and then it just makes life horrible. So I actually have a thing on my door that says work hours 8 to 5:30. You're not allowed in here in my office after 5:30 on weekdays, and not allowed on Sundays at all. So that's something I have to deal with. And then I've noticed that when I dress for work and like put on work pants and shoes and all that, I'm in much more of a work mode. Because
really?
Because if you, for me, if I can just wake up in my pajamas and work, like I'm allowed to, but it just makes me feel like there's no structure to my day. So I
Okay.
always try to get dressed for work. And then for me, I'm always trying to get my Fitbit steps in now to get exercise. So for
Ah.
me, I set a timer on my iPhone every time I sit down for 50 minutes.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and it goes off in 50 minutes, and like 80% of the time I pop up. And then I go get 500 steps, and just to take a break and reset. And I've heard that the human brains work for like 50 minutes and then they get distracted.
Yeah.
So I kind of just follow that, and it kind of keeps things fresh and then keeps me moving up and down. Because if not, I could sit here all day. And then like 20% of the time, I may not get up that second if I'm working on something, but I'll get up in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing, same thing with emails. If I wanted to, Chris, I could be a professional emailer. And my entire day, and I get in these bad habits where it's like I'll start at 8 and the next thing I know it's 12:30 and all I've done is emails.
Yeah.
So I try to give myself up to 24 hours for emails, even if I can answer them in the next 15 minutes. Sometimes I'll give myself up to a day before, up to 24 hours. So I don't put any like instant pressure on myself. And I set email times. I'm like, okay, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to bang out emails. And then I'm going to get out of my inbox. Checklist, just like you, I have my own checklist system. Have to use it.
Yeah.
Or else you're lost. And then for me, I just use Google Calendar. And I've got things that repeat every single day. And then when I'm done with them, I turn them gray. And then that's how I know when I've done with my day. When everything on that list is gray. And that's kind of how it works for me. But yeah, it's like working from home is a great benefit, but it's super dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially if you have work addiction tendencies.
It's interesting. We both kind of represent the other side. I'm the opposite. Yeah. I'm the opposite. I will work my butt off so that I can finish early. Like right now, it's getting close to the end of the day for Jason and I, and I'm sad because I'm going to be finishing actually around 5 o'clock, 5:30,
right.
And I'm sad because I don't have an extra hour to go do something I want to do, like fun. That's before I have to go to. And Jason, you don't experience this yet, but to my second job, which is being a dad and a husband,
youth sports fan. That's
right?
What I call parents. They're youth sports fans.
Yeah, it's I have to go to my second job and I have to be attentive, and so there's because I don't have travel time.
Yeah.
I can't wind down, so I'll play a game. I like to play video games, or watch a YouTube video, or play poker on my phone or something. Just to kind of wind down.
I have to do that too. I have to decompress.
Okay. Yeah.
I have to do something between work and personal, even though they're right next door to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't hear a lot of work people talk about that, but it's something I'd never heard of. But I just figured out I had to do it. I had to do something. I can't just walk out this door and immediately start being productive about helping my wife.
Stressed and
whole time I'm like, taking home life as if it's work life, and I'm walking right into home life like, let's go, let's get this stuff done. I'm talking to my wife and my daughter as if they're employees, and you just gotta change modes. You really gotta. You got to decompress is probably a good term for it. So that's cool. That's cool. Anything else? I mean, I like your list there. I do
my checklist for AdWords. I've got a weekly management checklist, and I now have one employee, and we both, whenever we have like a list of clients on the left side at the top, we have our different tasks for the week: add new keywords, add negative keywords, test the ads, manage the bids, whatever. And whenever one of us does one of the tasks, we have to put our initials in the box. And so by the end of the week, for every single client, the whole box should be checked out. Every box should be initialed. And then in terms of my day, I just like the first half of my day is that management time.
Yeah.
And I block it off for management time, and that's. But I don't have like a client specific thing. I just go client by client pretty much.
Interesting. That's It's interesting that we both birthed and nursed our businesses into, the state that it's in, but find a lot of similarities in the way that you work.
Yeah.
And that might be a key to, those that are watching, is that if Jason and I find a lot of similarities in the way that we do things. We did not talk about this ahead of the time. Jason, I didn't coach Jason as he started his business on what to do. He's developed what works for him. So take that with a little bit of awareness that if we identified these things on our own separately, I think there's probably a core a value there that both of us have tapped into, that is probably just what it really takes to work at home or to be a self-starter,
right.
Organization, time management, and making sure that when you're done, you're done. You don't push yourself too hard.
I know we're going for a bit here, but let me ask you one question. Shared workspace, bringing your laptop to a shared office and then eating donuts with other people who run other businesses. Does that cross your mind at all? Because for me, it doesn't seem attractive. It's not my personality, or it's not for me, but it's for people out there if they can't work from home productively.
If you can't work from home productively, yeah, I mean, maybe it's a good option. Maybe it's something that you can do. Maybe you've got, people you're sharing your home with, or you got kids or something like that.
Right.
But if you have a place you can go to, there is nothing like having a comfortable, consistent spot. I mean, if I could take my camera and pan it around, I have my speakers here, that system that I'm able to play music from. I have my keyboard. I have my notes. I have, a little
your privacy.
Yeah, I mean, I have my privacy. I can fart and nobody's going to say anything. I can't imagine working where someone's right next to me or looking at me, or like, I'm a guy. Maybe I'm distracted by a girl sitting next to me. It's like, I'm married, but it's still going to be a distraction.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm a distraction to the ladies. But it's. Wow. The comfort of having consistency, I think, is incredibly important to
have
to
like missing the castle syndrome. Like that's what I have when I used to have to work at a job and go somewhere. Like this is like my home. Like I don't like leaving my dog in my home all day and alone. So I like being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I have this big nice oak desk that I bought. Just because I was like, when I started my business, I was like, I want somewhere to work that I'm comfortable. I don't want to work on a little kind of, little card desk or something.
Yeah.
I
walked into a furniture store here in Oklahoma City, and I told the guy what I tell everyone. I said, I'm very successful, and I'm also very, very tall.
How tall are you?
Pushing 6'1", pushing it.
Really?
Pushing it. Without shoes, I'm 6'1¼
Goodness, you and Jason and I have never met in person, which someday hopefully we will.
We never met, never touched, never.
Yeah, never.
No.
So someday I'll stand beside you and look up and say, "Wow, 6 feet," because I'm all of like 5'10".
5'10's not short though.
No, it's not short. Yeah. I didn't. Did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody say short?
I didn't say
somebody.
Short. but
I didn't. No, it's not short.
So
it's just
pushing,
for 6 footers.
Yeah.
It's
I'm pushing very successsul. No, I am very successful. I'm pushing legend status. Pushing it, and I'm also pushing 6'1". So I told the guy that, and he said, "Sir, you don't need a desk. You need a dining room table." So I bought a dining room table. That's what I work on.
Are you serious? That's what you work on?
I'm serious, yeah.
Oh man,
it's awesome. Because honestly, I went to those nice desks where they have like things around them. The desk behind the desk and the desk on the side for all the files and all that. But when I sit down, my knees are like they don't fit. They don't fit. So we went up and we looked at the dining room tables, and it was great buying furniture because we also bought a Lazy Boy chair. And like when you buy furniture from a furniture salesman, you're God. Like anything you say goes. And he was just like, that's right. Like, yeah, they do make these desks way too short. And then I told him something on their business card. This is like a multi-million-dollar company. I was like, the way you guys have your emails listed, it's hard to see what address is after the @ sign. And he's like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to bring that up with management. So
yes, sir. Just please buy something, please.
Yeah, I was buttered up and
A yes man.
he got me, but
yeah.
But I got this nice desk. So don't be scared of a dining room table is what I would have to say.
So you can eat and work at your working.
I can eat and work, but you know what, Chris? Going back to like the structure of your day.
Oh no,
man, 12 to 1. I love taking that break.
Yeah,
and watching some videos online and relaxing.
That's my YouTube watch time. Yeah, I mean, I have
politics watch time.
Politics.
Back to politics.
Someday I will probably never understand that. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. We will, as always, be on the main podcast.
Yeah, but
show
let me
Mondays.
call these guys out for a second, Chris, because I haven't been doing it lately on our podcast where I ask for a review. But come on, bros, we just need some reviews on iTunes. And if you're the kind of listener that watches the YouTube videos too, you love us.
It's like have you ever heard the NPR request for funding?
Right.
You know, they ask for money.
For viewers like you.
Yeah, and you're like, listen. If you guys are watching this video, you're over 20 minutes in at this point on a video of two guys talking.
Right.
You owe us a review. Come on. I mean, that's it.
From our deepest fans. So, yeah. So, that's something
you are truly. You're in the elite.
Yeah. And that would help a ton because that's the iTunes algorithm is the more reviews you get, the higher your show gets. The more people listen, the more reviews you get. It's like a virtuous cycle. But, man, it is hard to get reviews.
Yeah. You got to beg.
If you're a YouTube guy, just leave us a review, and all it should say is YouTube, bro.
Yeah. Specifically, we're talking about iTunes, by the way.
You're right.
You don't do reviews on YouTube, but we're talking about iTunes reviews. By the way,
but that's all I want them to write in the iTunes review. I don't care what they write. We just need
YouTube,
the reviews.
YouTube, bro. Yeah. We'll send you some call outs on the air. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Catch us on the main. We'll be back late.
All right.